Saturday night's episode of Orphan Black was Rachel's episode, essentially. Teddy, what were your feels?
Well, I said right after the episode on our After the Black segment that it almost felt like an origin story for Rachel. Because,
in many ways.
Yeah, they had multiple flashbacks, right? To her kind of as a teenager, to her a little earlier with P.T. Westmoreland, and of course to her as a child. And obviously they were showing us this because they were trying, the showrunners and the writers were trying to show
empathy.
us. Yeah, and what led to her turn. And I think a big moment in this episode, it was kind of a small moment, but I think when Kira gave her the friendship bracelet, I thought that was huge because obviously all this is happening at the same time as the Kira egg harvesting stuff, which is so disgusting and just horrific. But I think that's a bit of a bridge too far for Rachel, but I also just think her seeing yet another generation having their childhood taken away from them and ruined because of Neolution and because of all of this, that is the breaking point for her, along with the emotional stuff with the bracelet, and it just all was like a house of cards.
The whole thing with the eye and realizing that someone has been that invasive into her life.
That's a good point. That was a big part too.
Watching, you know, the world through her eyes really hit home the idea of what she has been doing facilitating to the other Lita clones. So that was a big moment for her, especially.
And themes of always on the women on the tables on the gurneys now. There was a big theme of like medical and physical invasion in this episode, right?
And to go back to Akira for a moment, I mean, obviously the friendship bracelet was a nice gesture, but all those like tender moments of who hurt you and like reaching out and grabbing her hands and letting her know that her mom did the same thing. And that shows you that's the child reaction to circumstance. Is different than the adult. I mean, so much of it's Sarah and Mrs. S, like, let's get guns, let's go on a killing spree, let's
mobilize,
storm the gates. Whereas the kid is like, no, let's relate, empathize, try to bring people in with love, not violence. And
childlike innocence.
Exactly. Right? It's such a wonderful juxtaposition on the show. Let's talk about some other big characters. Mark returned, as we exclaimed last week in our debrief. Oh, are any of the other caster clones out there? Oh yeah, Mark! And then boom, right
there's
on
almost a tip of the hat to it when Ira asked if there was any more of his brothers, and they said no, and then we both realized Mark was there. I thought that was a great comeback.
Mark left in like season 3, it's been a while.
Yeah, and cool, Ari Millen is a great actor as well, so he certainly treats Mark differently as an actor than he does Ira. Also, Allison is back. What did you think of her return?
It's the character arc coming to its perfect completion, going away.
Dyeing her hair, getting a tattoo.
How many women out there have done that at some point in their lives?
People have,
so many that I know. So what a wonderful moment for Allison. It'll be interesting to see how things play out with her. And I'm especially concerned because, as we know, there was this look ahead that was cut from the 9th episode of the show where Helena is seen in a church executing one of the Lita clones. I didn't think it would be Allison, but now I'm thinking maybe it is. There's some speculation. Maybe it's actually a flashback in that future episode, but I'm still nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, we had another key character return, right? Who's inexorably tied to Mark, discovering Helena at the convent, right? So that's big as well. And I thought it was a real episode of revelations. And I also got to give a shout out to the use of music in this episode.
I was going to say, in my notes, I wrote the music in tonight's episode was amazing. It was like 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, it was really amazing, and it really ratcheted up the tension. And I do think it was the strongest episode of the season so far.
I agree completely.
I thought it was
We got 3 more that could possibly top it. Be sure to watch those and join us for the next episode of Orphan Black this Saturday at 10, right here on Space.
#Clone Club. Do it.
Nope.